All right. Hello, my sister.
Hey, how are you?
Great. There's my sound. So we are live, and I want to say to everybody watching right now, hello, 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 and good evening, and welcome to the new Real Talk 100. We're going to wait while we get our guests in. We're actually streaming from several different um, links tonight. So I see the check marks all clear. So hopefully everyone is able to watch us tonight and join in on the conversation. Your input will be greatly appreciated. And I'm glad that you're here tonight, waiting on a couple of other studio guests that were invited here. But so happy to be back with our in our studio and able to share tonight with people. Catherine, how have you been? All right, so we're gonna try to make sure everybody's mics on point. We don't have any silent moments. Catherine, you are in the live stream.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
yes, so I couldn't hear you. I just want to make sure our mics are on board. Waiting for three other guests, and in the meantime, we'll do some homework right now. Do a little bit of disclaimers, because every time we start, I always want to make sure that I give the disclaimer that you have the right to agree or disagree with anything that we say here tonight. Still gonna love you. So I want you to enjoy the conversation tonight. Don't feel like you have to hold back. We are really glad to see any input. I'm going to put the banner up tonight so that we will be able to see as people text in their comments. Also, I know I did the invite tonight and I made sure I practiced tonight so that everything was on point. So, Catherine, I know I didn't give anyone the topic tonight, but we will be talking tonight about change and the need for change. Some people are not comfortable with change. So we want to talk about that. And we also want to address a couple other topics that I had tonight. Hopefully, we'll get around to it. We're going to try to limit this show tonight to 1 hour and 5 minutes. I added those 5 minutes, everybody, because it's necessary to close down. Okay. Catherine's my sound great for you?
Yes.
Awesome, man. And I've got yours in. So apparently, our rest of our guests didn't realize when I said 7 o'clock, I really meant 7 o'clock. I was determined at this time we will not be late in our broadcasting, and we got to be faithful in what we do, you know. So we know that when the Lord put you in charge of something, that you need to be faithful to it, even if it's a little. Then it'll make you a little bit much. So I'm grateful to be able to be before you tonight. So, Catherine, let's move it right along. We're going to be talking tonight about change and the necessary and the need for it. Um, and I really want to know, gee, what is your intake when I say change is necessary? Do you think it has to happen or not? And are you open to it? So those are going to be some of the questions tonight to our panel. Catherine?
Oh, I'm here.
I couldn't hear you. So I was asking you, when it comes to change, are you comfortable with it or not?
Not all the time, to be honest with you. Change is difficult. Sometimes, for me, I'm talking about me. It's unfamiliar, and it's
I apologize. It's our lonely co-host.
and it's
Okay.
it's painful.
Yes.
It's difficult,
Mhm.
but it's necessary. A lot of times for me, I don't particularly care for change. because that means I have to do something different. And I get comfortable in the familiar. Uh, and so a lot of times I'd rather stay in the familiar than to change for something better. Change also means to me I got to do some work. And freedom ain't free. If I want to be free, I have to do the work, you know.
It's awesome that you said that because with our new program, I also want to let people know we are definitely going to be addressing recovery issues. We all have lived experiences, some form of recovery, maybe from people, places, things, drugs, alcohol, sex, you name it. Um, this platform is going to be able to open up some avenues for people to be able to gain resources for help. Also, sharing situations in our own lives, we're hoping that will help you to open up and maybe seek help if you need help. So that's another thing, when you were just talking about change and in your life, how how change has to happen for you and how it's not comfortable. We always know that, and for me, I'm going to say, during the time struggling and recovering for many, many years, and a lot of people may not know, but if you don't know, you know now. And it's nothing that I hide or ashamed of. I've been recovering from drugs and alcohol for over 20 years now, and I'm really grateful um, to be in the position now to be able to talk to people who are struggling with addiction. And I have a lot of them, be it people, places, and things. So when we talk about change and how change has to happen, it's important, especially if you are dealing with some kind of substance or trauma in your life, because it can even be, there are situations where your mental stability, it's an addiction. You are addicted to habits or other people. It doesn't always, when we say, when we talk about recovery, and Catherine, I want you to chime in, and good evening to our co-host. I want to go ahead and stop for a second and acknowledge our co-host, Ms.
Okay, now I
Rosemary
can hear
Carter.
you.
Oh, I'm glad that you're here. And now I can hear you. Um, and so we're talking about change and the necessity for it. And I'm going to keep sharing. Being in recovery and struggling with addiction, it was really hard for me because a lot of times I was always just to make other people happy. Um, I'm out here doing ABC and thinking it's fun. I'm having a good time, but really, when you are addicted to something, it seems fun for a while, but after a point in time, it starts to consume your life. And where you think you are in control, you are no longer in control. And things are changing all around you. And you may not even notice that. So we're talking about change tonight because I'm going to continue with my story later. But I also want to give our co host a chance to chime in on change and talking about when it happens, does it happen, and the necessity for it. So, Miss Carter, can you elaborate on something that you may have experienced about changing your life or someone else's? I know you got your microphone working right tonight, right? Okay. So we don't want any blank spots tonight. So apparently I've chimed out with her. So Catherine, I'm going to go back to you because we are talking about recovery tonight, as well as change. Would you care to share some information about uh, a situation maybe in your life that has changed in time? of your recovery?
Thank since I've been clean, and as you, Joyce, I've been clean 23 years. And so there have been many, many different changes in my life. And I'm grateful for them, even though I bucked and rebelled and fought against the change. Um, and and I realized the only reason why I did that was because I was comfortable, like I said earlier, in the familiar pain, not realizing that the change that God was trying to place me in was going to give me relief from the pain that I was in. And so, if I had just been obedient and less rebellious and just went with the flow, it would have been a lot easier. But the fear of change paralyzed me where I couldn't do anything, you know. But now, since I know the benefit of change, I embrace it a lot easier, and I stop fighting against the grain.
Awesome, awesome. So, Rose, can you hear me? Miss Carter's mic apparently is
Hey, Mom. Well, my
there. Then.
microphone is acting up something terrible. I don't know
Oh,
why, but I can hear. I can't hear you.
oh. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, guess what? She's actually lost her connection. So we will move on. So, Catherine, when you were sharing and talking about um, the change in your life, I also want to talk about the struggles of addiction because tonight we're going to open some doors to some things and that some people just don't want to talk about, don't want to visit, don't want to say out loud. We're going to say it out loud. So maybe if you hear it, it'll help you understand that help and assistance is here for you if you need it. We are a part of My Daughter's House. I want to say that. And it is a nonprofit, and we do recovery and relapse prevention. And what I love about the women in our organization and men that also on the outside participate, we all have a story and we all have lived experiences. Um, we're not telling you what we heard or read in a book. We're telling you what we know. And the struggle is really real. When it comes to have to change things in your life due to you not being able to handle whatever you've gotten yourself into, um, you have to make some major changes. And yes, it is not comfortable because people will criticize you, especially I experienced this when trying to come clean from my addiction. People often saying, "Whoa, well, you trying to act funny? You don't want to be with us." But change is necessary. And y'all, excuse me, I got to say something right quick. Come in. Okay, somebody's knocking at the door. But anyway, as I was saying, come in. That it is necessary. Change is necessary. And it's not that you're being funny. You have to make those drastic changes to better your life if you want to be better. And sometimes it takes that for some people, and sometimes it don't. Recovery is different for everybody, but you have to work what works for you. And if it don't work for you, um, then pass it on. Maybe it'll work for somebody else. There's always information out there for you to obtain to be able to get the help that you do need. And so I say that when it comes to change, you may have to change your place. You may have to change the people you're around. Um, just structure your life in a better way to make you healthy. Because I found that when I tried to stay in the same arena, keep the same friends, do the same thing, I kept finding myself doing the same thing. So, Catherine, you want to come in and elaborate on that a little bit
Um,
when you were about your recovery process?
my recovery process was very difficult because one thing I'm be honest about is that all of my using and drinking days were not bad. Uh, it became bad the longer I stayed in it, and I began to experience a lot of losses.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the pain began to get great. And like you said, I had to change the people, places, and things. And I asked my sponsor, I said, she told me, you have to change it to people, places, and things. And I was like, oh, why do I have to change my friend? And he said, well, if you change and they still doing what they doing and you're not doing what they're doing anymore, they're going to eventually leave you alone. You're not going to have to leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that they were not really my friends because my friends are not going to do anything or give me anything that's going to hurt me. And I learned that the hard. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to, first, I had to learn how to stop using. That was the first thing. And, and then my sponsor told me I had to get my life in its proper order. And that's God first, then my recovery, and then myself, and everything else would fall into its proper place. Then she told me that God be the pilot, my recovery co-pilot, and I be the passenger, and I enjoy the ride. You know that all of
Mm-hmm.
that was foreign language to me at the beginning, but then I learned after doing work. That's why I said, if I want to be free, freedom ain't free. I have to do the work to be free. And the work ain't gonna be easy, but I have to be willing to go through and to learn how to live a new way of life. I have to learn how to, I don't have to be religious
Mm-hmm.
in bondage, but I do have to be spiritual. And I do have to establish a heartfelt relationship with God. Now, you can call him whatever you want, depending on your religious beliefs. But my God, I call God because that's who he is to me, you know. So it, it took a lot of work. I mean, just don't know how to explain it, except it took a lot of work, a lot of determination. And even today, I'm not exempt from getting high. And I don't want anybody to think that I feel that way because I'm not exempt. Uh, what I do know is that the boys ain't getting no more my money. That's what I know because when I was giving them my money or buying alcohol, I was saying, take my money, pay your rent, me and my children will become homeless. Take my money, your bills, me and my children, I won't pay the light bill and we'll sit in the dark. Or I won't buy no food for my family. You take my money, buy food for your family, and me and mine will eat bread and water. And I was using because of my feelings and my emotions. I was feeling resentment. I was feeling bitterness and yada, yada, yada. And I was feeling all these things. And I didn't know what to do with the feelings. I didn't want to feel the feelings. So I went and got high. But today, I allow myself to feel those feelings. But what I do today, instead of buying drugs or alcohol, I'll go buy me too many clothes that I don't need or too many shoes that I don't need. When I calm
So,
down and my
mhm.
get balanced, I'll take that stuff back and get my money back. But if I buy dope, I won't get my money back. So I just
So,
had, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I'm done.
So I was just listening, it was just like I was just listening when you were saying, how, you could go buy clothing and do and things and you're able to take that back. But if you go buy drugs, you can't take that back. And that goes over to, some other things that we deal with mental health and substance abuse disorders. Oftentimes people substitute something for whatever you stop doing, you'll pick up a habit and start doing something else. And a lot of times you may not even realize that you are substituting one addiction for another because we know shopping can be an addiction for real. Okay. And it can sometimes be, it can be just as bad as um picking up drugs, but like you said, the one thing with that was you spend your money, you can go back to the store and get your goods. Whereas when you give it to the drug dealer and he takes your money and go on, there's no getting it back. So, but it just stems into the certain levels of addiction because addiction can be a lot of things. I find, we oftentimes deal with situations where people are addicted to people, where relationships, you just got to be in a relationship with somebody. You haven't really learned how to be alone. It's some form of addiction where when you get to a point where you just need to be with people all the time, you got to have this person with you. You can't live without them. You don't know your own self worth. You don't know where you end and where they begin. So self care is so important. And that is another thing that we're hoping to talk about in the future on this broadcast. And it's very important, self care. You have to be able to know your worth and take care of yourself before you can do or be any good for anyone else. And so I didn't mean to cut you off when you were talking about, that shoe thing. It just really stuck in my spirit when you said, you could go take those things back. So I found that I stopped doing one habit of drinking or drugging, and then I started getting me a lot of boyfriends, and that was a dating thing. He was like, I love to date. I didn't care. We weren't laying up. We just gonna date. I have about 4 or 5 boyfriends. Hey, okay, your boyfriend do that. So, but it was an addiction, and I had to soon realize that too. That some habits were not good for my life. Um, and so I say that because if you are a young woman or a young man and you find yourself in that situation where you haven't learned how to be with you and be healthy and happy about it, then perhaps you need to start practicing a little bit of self care and awareness. So we do a program in my daughter's house, and we have some awesome facilitators um, that are able to help you with a wellness plan to help you do more self evaluations. So please don't hesitate to look us up on Facebook, My Daughter's House, or Instagram or YouTube. Contact one of these 3 names you see down here on Facebook to find out how you can get a hold of that information and be a part of that. So,
I also want to, uh,
yes, you go ahead.
when you were talking about not wanting to be by yourself, and I used to be like that too. I didn't know how to be with me by myself, and I always had to have a man. Always had to have, and like you said, a lot of them I didn't even like. I wasn't even attracted to.
Right. Right. You just be my boyfriend
Yeah,
today.
you just yeah, one of them. But I had a sponsor that helped me to understand that uh, until I establish a relationship with God, I'm not going to be able to establish a healthy relationship with anybody. And then she asked me, Catherine, what is so wrong with you that you don't want to be with you by yourself?
Oh, that's a serious question right there. So, everybody listening today and play the replay, whatever you need to do. But remember that statement right there. What is wrong with you that you don't like to be with you
By yourself.
by yourself? Ask yourself, how we do it here on Real Talk. You got the right to agree and disagree with anything we say. We're still gonna love you, but
Yeah.
we also keep it real, and we are not, this conversation tonight that we're having. We have fun with what we do, and we enjoy doing what we do, and we are hoping that something you hear tonight or some conversation will help you to realize if you are struggling with addiction or a problem that you have there's resources. Reach out. We can give you those resources, and if we don't have what you need, we surely can lead you to somebody else who can give it to you. Okay, so
Okay, I
um,
may be able to get
come,
in here.
come on in on this. Okay,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I can hear everything y'all was talking about. I got a 6 second delay over here, but I did want to say that, yeah, I was gonna say that too about the addiction to people, and it ain't just young people, cause I'm looking at old and young people who are addicted to people, and it's quite detrimental. But I think after, I don't know if something happened during COVID where people were so scared to be alone, or just sit with their own thoughts and just
Mhm.
let it marinate for a minute.
Yeah.
But I was listening to my mama Kathy, and I was listening to my mama, and I was I was just y'all was hitting on some things, and Mama told you about the phone call I had earlier today, and hopefully in soon in the future he'll be able to be get on here and tell his own testimony. That is the prayer,
We're looking forward to it.
because Mom, you planted that seed long ago, and it won't return to you void. So we already know, the word went out, and though it tarry, wait for it,
Wait on
you
it.
know.
Lord,
So
wait
I
on it.
mean, I felt uh, a different type of spirit about that situation. So I am grateful for that. But I am also gonna say, being that you two ladies have been through so much, you come through so much, and to see y'all now, people wouldn't believe. What I'm saying, sometimes people looked at the saved, sanctified, beautiful y'all and just don't know what it took to get where y'all are, and they don't know that that at times it's still in there. If you want, you know, it's in you for the fight, but
She call us
you
out.
would rather come at them with love.
And
And
when
so, the programs that people implementing, with my daughter's house, and also Mama Kathy, the way you have been helping people through the years, through, just being a leader and, having women to lean on you. I have seen people who get outright mad with you and want to cuss you out just because you told them the truth. And I feel like if they knew in their heart where y'all were coming from, that they would receive it better. They can't see when they want, because they like, people are like toddlers, and they want to do what they want to do when they want to do it, and they're gonna show out if you as soon as you tell them no, or tell them the right way to go. So, I was just thinking about that and I said, through the years, these two ladies, they have had people that they have had to try to help, and they can't stand in their full glory to see the God working in them. And so, a lot of times these people just be showing out. I'm just listening to y'all and I'm like, I am so proud that I was, brought up these last since knowing Mama Kathy since what I was 25. I'm
Yeah.
43. Yeah, 18. Is it 18? Yeah, 18
Yeah.
years that y'all have been through a lot, and y'all have come through a lot, and y'all have helped a lot of people, and always with no judgment. So I just want to celebrate y'all, to tell y'all thank you, and hopefully anybody that's listening that, when people invest in y'all, that it is good ground. You know, they're not gonna have to
Oh,
worry about y'all coming back later and embarrassing them for, them investing in you. So I just want to tell y'all thank you and I love y'all. And I'm gonna
Thank
go
you,
back on
Rose.
mute.
Oh, ain't that sweet?
we love you too. We do. And thank you so much for that. Um,
I want to say
come on, Kat.
that I work with people with serious mental health issues. And because I wouldn't do what one of my clients wanted me to do, she called me the B word and told me she ought to slap me upside my head.
See, people have no idea the kind of stuff you got to deal with. Mental health, it really is.
And
Um,
I told my boss the name calling I didn't have an issue with because I know my name and it ain't the B
mhm,
word. And I know what's on my birth certificate and it ain't the B word. But then she may have given an empty threat, but I had a
mhm.
concern about her slapping me because the old me ain't dead.
Okay.
You know, I haven't forgotten because I used to do this when I lived
Mhm.
in worldly life. I ain't forgot how to shoot you. I ain't forgot how to pluck your eye out. I ain't forgot how to kick you in your groins. I ain't forgot how to put sugar in your tank and cut your tires. I I haven't forgotten any of that stuff. I just don't live like that today, and that girl, like Rose was saying, that girl really don't know me.
Mhm.
And so I told my I told my boss, I think maybe you should take her off my caseload because
That just might be a good deal.
but I'm just saying, thank God for being who He is, and thank God that I want to serve Him and not the
Absolutely.
world, because if I wanted to serve, it would have been ugly. It really would have
Yeah.
been. I just wanted to say that.
Well, as y'all know, this is why we were talking about a change. And I'm grateful that my daughter was sharing with us tonight. I had no idea she was going to come with that, but I'm grateful, that she sees that. But I see a great change in her too. And when we talk about change and how important it is, um, because not being for the grace of God who impart His Spirit in us to change. Just like my co-host here said, somebody talking about they're gonna slap her, you might have slapped them back. And so it's like those old things we used to do, you're not able to do anymore. No matter how you be want to, you like say one more thing, just one more thing. But when true change comes, the flesh that you want to serve, if you're serving the true living God, you can't do what your flesh want to do. It won't let you. That spirit won't let you. And I'm always trying hard to allow myself to be governed by the Spirit of God. Because some people probably would have been slapped a long time ago if the old Joyce had ever showed up. Okay. So change is good, and we're going to be really grateful for that. But I want to say tonight with this conversation, now that we are definitely trying to get out here about the necessity of mental health, um, and help for it, substance abuse disorders, because they kind of go hand in hand. Um, you know, when you are out here and you're addicted to something, it's changing your mental state of mind. And then we know that some people just have mental health issues, and it may not be from substance use. So I was thinking the other day, I was talking to my husband, and I was like, every time you see somebody on the corner saying they're homeless or they got a sign, it doesn't mean, they're homeless because they're on drugs. It may mean that their situation has just changed. Something has changed in their life that has caused them to be in that situation. So I would say to all our viewers, try not to be judgmental about people when you see something like that happening. Because what I've always learned to do is when I see that, say, but by the grace of God, it could have been me. Because if he had not stepped in and saved me and changed me and brought people in my life to bring forth the word and really just encourage me to move forward and leave the lifestyle I was in, I could be that very person on the corner holding a sign saying I'm homeless and I need some food or I need some clothing. So if you see somebody standing on the corner, don't be quick to judge. Just reach in your heart. It's like that JWD. They say, "What would Jesus do?" Think to yourself first before we judge, and try not to judge. Either you can give to them or you can't. But if you can't, just don't judge them and say, "Oh, well, they just out here doing this because believe me, I don't see why anybody wants to stand on the corner on a rainy day just for fun." Now, I know that sometimes it appears some people just habitual with it. So you have to be led by the Spirit of what to do and what not to do. But what we don't do is judge. If it ain't for you to give, keep right on riding and let the Lord do what the Lord do. But I always say, but by the grace of God, it could have been me if not for the grace of God. So we all only one step away from being the beggar on the corner, or being the hooker on the corner, or being homeless. Because he said he gives and he takes away. So always remember that whatever you have, but it's not just for you. You have to help others. That is a necessity of life, the reaping and sowing process. And if you don't believe me, try it. So, Catherine, I promised our viewers tonight we were not going to be long. And I wanted this show not to overrun our time because next week we have guests coming on. We're doing a teen program, and I'm bringing in some teens who are going to tell some truths. And it might not be pleasant to the parents. We will keep their faces disclosed, but they're going to share some stuff that some parents might not even be aware of. And we want you to be able to start listening to your young people and not just running over them like what they say don't matter, because they count too. Their opinion matter. They want to be heard. They need somebody to listen. So, Catherine, with all that being said, I'm about to sign out. You want to depart with something before I give our last disclosure and sign off tonight?
All I want to say to sign out is to thy own self be true.
Amen. That was a mouthful right there. All right, guys, take it with you. This is Joyce Spencer Mintz coming to you live for Real Talk, the new Real Talk 100. Got a topic you want to discuss? Send it and shoot it to me in my messenger. We're here. We're here for you. And if you're looking for help, go on over to my Facebook page. Um, Look us up on the internet. My daughter's house, the number2.com is our website. You can contact us via Facebook, website. We're all over the map, okay? Or just call me. My number is listed. All right. As usual, we hope that something said here tonight will not only help you be better, but do better. And until we meet again, I look forward to seeing you. This is Joyce Spencer Mintz signing out with my co-hosts, Catherine and Rosemary Carter. And we thank you again for joining us. And we'll see you next week, Friday, 7 p.m. promptly. Have a blessed and wonderful evening.